This is a true crime discussions channel. We speculate. This is all just speculation. Because it's true crime, it's for mature audiences only. There will be no children allowed, no exceptions. Everything on this channel falls under fair use. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share. It's free. Hey y'all, good to see you today. Hope everybody is doing well in the snow. Thank you guys for being here. Looking for my pen. Hold on, let me grab my pen and my scrap paper. Been working on the wood burnings for the giveaway that's going to happen at the end of the month or beginning of next month. I'm not sure yet. Good to see you guys. I appreciate you guys being here and hanging out with me today. You could be anywhere in the world and you choose to be here with me, and I appreciate you for that. Thank you so much. He has been found. Okay, Texas woman, thank you for that information because I did want to talk about that. So what you're saying, I got sent information. Hold on. I know it was from New York, a train station. Central Station, I think. It's going to take a minute to load. Good to see you. Hey, Max, good to see you. Abella's good to see you. My internet's messing up. One sunny day, good to see you. And thank you for being like number 14. If you guys don't mind, please twinkle, twinkle over to the thumbs up.
Come on, players, stop hating. Stop hating. Start participating. Start participating, Star. Come on, twinkle, twinkle, baby. Twinkle, twinkle.
Twinkle, twinkle, baby. Yes. I've got it up. Thank you guys for dropping that in the chat. It says, hold on. No, yeah, it says he hasn't been found. Okay. So Thomas, I hate the way it does that. Thomas Medlin, the 15-year-old boy who went missing from Grand Central Station, has been ongoing since January 9th. He was last seen at the station around 5:30 on the same day. The family believes he met with someone through Roblox, which is out of character for him. Authorities have traced his location to Lower Manhattan and Brooklyn, but he has not been heard from since. The family is asking for the public's help to bring him home. Here's a photo of him. From 2 hours ago, we've got eerie surveillance footage of missing schoolboy 15 who vanished after going to meet someone from Roblox. We have to wait for it to load for just a second. This doesn't appear to be what we're looking for. Okay, that's not relevant. I hate when they do that. Stop it. Okay. So it says Roblox fan Thomas Medlin, 15, was last seen on January 9th after leaving his school and boarding a train. And there's the photo of that. I remember seeing that photo. Let me say hey to y'all real quick because I know I haven't said hey to everybody. Parabola, good to see you, Texas woman. Thank you for being here. Was saying prayers that it gets found, and I misunderstood. Thank you for that. Edith, good to see you. Lorianne, good to see you. Jeff, the guitarist, good to see you, love. Jenny Jen, A1 from Day One, good to see you. And Cindy from sunny South Florida, good to see you. Wait a minute, I saw Succubeth, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Nice to see you. Edith shared a milestone. You've been a member for 13 months. That is so amazing. Thank you so much for the continued support. 13 months. Wow. That's amazing. Thank you so much for the continued support. And Edith says, love our speculating family. I love you guys too. Thank you so much, love.
Amazing.
Thank you. He does look a little bit older than 15. That's something to pay attention to, too, when trying to locate him. Mustang, good to see you. Hannah UK, good to see you. Abelis, my love, good to see you. But we shouldn't have to, you know. People should just not take children. You know what I mean? There appears to be a couple of photos. The Suffolk County Police Department has released this surveillance footage from the missing schoolboy who vanished after going to meet someone from Roblox. Roblox said, we share everyone's hope for Thomas Medlin's safe return. Roblox fan Thomas Medlin was last seen January 19th. He's 15 years old, and he was last seen after leaving his school and boarding a train. His sudden disappearance comes just 5 months after Louisiana launched a lawsuit accusing Roblox of failing to protect child users from adult predators. Thomas Medlin went missing from his Long Island home just after 3 p.m. on January 9th, said the Suffolk County Police Department. He boarded the train at the Stony Brook Long Island Railroad Station and headed to Manhattan, according to a news release. Thomas was later seen at Grand Central Station about 5:30 p.m. that same day. Detectives said they've located his phone in Lower Manhattan, and he was most recently spotted on CCTV in Brooklyn. Shows him wearing glasses, a jacket, and carrying a large bag. His parents said that his disappearance was unusual. His shirt. Okay, so am I to understand that this has been since he's been missing? Because his shirt, the collar of his shirt is jerked way down, like somebody grabbed him by the collar like this and was like, maybe, you're going to do this. Like, that's what I'm seeing in that photo. Content Angel, good to see you, said, I think some parents think that it's something they have to worry about when their kids are little, but really kidnapping happens to 17-year-olds, yeah. The owner founder of Roblox is a serious piece of shit. He doesn't think there's an issue with Roblox. That's insane. My kids don't have access to the internet through their Roblox and stuff. And we just got the phone. Like, they don't have phones anymore. Hold on a minute. Elin, I think is how you say it. Let's go to, oh my gosh. Hold on just a minute. I'm not seeing the actual video though. We got Fox and Friends from 3 hours ago. If it's out there, this is a video on Facebook. Hold on, I know you can't see it. Let me pull it up. Takes forever sometimes.
School. He was wearing a backpack, and 15-year-old Thomas Medlin has been missing now for 2 weeks. He was last seen at Grand Central on January 9th. Police say he took the train from Long Island after school. He was wearing a backpack and holding a large object. His last known locations reportedly include Lower Manhattan and Brooklyn. His family believes that he was headed to New York City to meet someone he became friendly with on the gaming platform Roblox. They had reportedly not heard from Thomas since he left. His mom pleading for help to find her son. She joined Fox and Friends earlier this morning explaining how Thomas was able to get around the game's parental features. Listen.
That's a problem. And so that goes back to Roblox specifically, because the children, they need to make it to where they can't get around the parental controls. Thank you.
Initially, when he set up the Roblox, the email would come to my personal email account. In order for him to change it, it would come like 2 codes with me. But secretly, he was able to break that, switch it to different Roblox account. I found out there's like 5 different Roblox accounts, and somehow he set up his own personal email through the cloud. So this whole thing, was very unclear to me. So it was almost bypassed my email. He was able to, set up different security word. So he was almost left us like under dust. That was what happened.
Yeah, there should have been some type of notification, because they did what they were supposed to do. They set up a different account, a different email. So there should have been some type of notification. Hannah said the fact that chat is hidden from parents is my problem. Right. Yep.
In a statement, Roblox says, quote, "We share everyone's hope for Thomas Medlin's safe return, and our thoughts and prayers are with him and his family. We conducted a thorough review to support law enforcement's investigation and found no attempts to direct him to an off-platform communication method or sharing of off-platform contact information, including usernames, phone numbers, or other communication methods. We will continue to provide any assistance we can.
If they didn't find anything, like, how did he get in touch with somebody off the platform then? Or get a phone number or know what happened. I mean, I need what the police said as opposed to what Roblox is saying. 764, yeah, that 764 shit's insane. I'm genuinely concerned about that. We need to do an episode on that 764 shit, because that shit, it's Indy, good to see you. Like, I'm concerned about that shit. That shit's part of the reasons there's no phones in the house other than the 2 adults that have them.
Authorities asked anyone with any information on the whereabouts of Thomas to call the Suffolk County Police Department, 631-854-8452.
We'll have to talk more about that soon. I'm thinking that today's probably going to be the last time that I go over this case. Well, go over the photos. Today will probably be the last day of us going over the photos, because what I'm trying to look at is like the forensics, the blood splatter, and all of that stuff to try to understand the crime and how it happened, what may have happened, so I can picture it in my mind, because that's how I learned. A lot of people have voiced their opinions about me going over this content, and they're just saying that they wish that I knew more information about it. And I do know some about it, okay, and I'm learning as we go. But for me, I didn't get involved in this case until the end, after it's already been a trial, after somebody has already pled to this case, and I'm going back through it and trying to understand it. And sometimes when you go into a case and you don't know everything, I think you can approach it from a way of, I think you can see things that maybe other people haven't seen or can't see, or, point out things that other people might not think about, because other people could be thinking about, like, this is what the document said, let me find that in the photos, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm going to continue to cover what I want to cover, and I'm going to continue to go through these photos, and I'm going to do it how I want to do it. And if anybody has an issue with that, or if I'm wrong, please correct me. And I did drop the link if anybody wants to come up and go over this with me or help to educate me, because this is a learning process for me, and I'm always open to being educated on a specific situation. I appreciate everybody's thoughts and opinions on this, because here you are allowed to share your thoughts and opinions regardless of if you agree with me or not. With that, we're going to go over this case, and I have an extensive drive that has a lot of documents on it, probably all of the documents. I just haven't had time. I mean, these are like this one that I just pulled up and was kind of looking at a little bit. It's 556 pages. Every single one that I pulled up is at least 100 and some odd pages. And, I have 4 children at home with me every day. Homeschool, there's just a lot. So I haven't been able to go through them, but I can read documents all day, and I do, and I enjoy that. But for me, learning is through the photos. And so we're going to continue to talk about that today. I did drop the link if anybody feels like they need to correct me on anything, or if they want to come up. Southern, good to see you. Friends only. You can't add me as a friend. Yeah, you got to keep the nasties away. Speaking of Discord, I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. I do have a Discord. I'm not in there as much as I'd like to be, and but we're getting settled in. I'm getting things put up and cleared away, and trying to do more things for the channel. In my Discord, please don't give out your personal information. If somebody messages you specifically like asking for money or your personal information, block them immediately. Don't be we're not doing that. So I just want you to be aware of that in any Discord. If somebody's messaging you and telling you, a long, sad story, or trying to get money from you, I just would block them, or, talk to them, but don't send them any money. Good to see you, Hio. Thank you for being here. Deadpool X people, good to see you, and thank you for being here. Mrs. North, good to see you, and thank you for being here. I thought Discord was a pit from hell since it came out. It reminded me of HM or the farms. No places normal folks go. Well, it's good for talking to people from the channel. Karen, good to see you. But yeah, like, you know, I have struggled in my life, but I have found that even when I'm stressed to the max about paying bills or, you know, how I'm going to get gas money to go wherever it is that I need to go, even back in the day, like gas money to get to a food bank. You know, it's always worked out. It's always worked out in the end. God will provide for you. And I just, you know, you work hard for your money. Please keep your money. Don't be giving it out. That's all I'm going to say about that. So Hio went through and she turned the photos for me. So we're going to go through the ones that were turned because we had just gotten into Xana's room yesterday. So we're going to go through that, and then I'm just going to click through this drive and kind of see what we have on here. There's a lot of photos and a lot of information on here that she has compiled together. And I'm also going to drop her link real quick because she covers this case too. I don't know if she's put anything out recently. We've talked about it in the past. She knows a lot more about this than I do, and she's got a lot of documents. I don't know if she's going to do anything on it right now, but definitely go subscribe to her if you have not, because she does a lot of really good true crime as well when she has the ability and the time. So let me drop that, and then we'll get into this. My channel was active when this case first hit. I don't trust Moscow locals and don't trust the FBI at all. FBI, I get irritated about the FBI because they can tell me, you know, if somebody has a pimple on their butt, that's like, you know, all the way across the ocean, but you can't find these missing kids. I don't really trust them either, to be honest with you. Hey, Kat, good to see you. Mrs. North said Roblox instantly could have zoomed in immediately to that kid's info. Every person. Yep. Their IP address, location, linked accounts, etc. And the fact that they're saying that there's no information about meeting off platform, I don't believe that for a fucking second. I don't. Because I don't understand how he would have met up with him if there was nothing on there. So what is it? This is baseline, top of stairwell to south wall. Oh, it's talking about the markers. No. So RP2, this is the second floor. It shows a kitchen, a table, up and over. We got RP2 right here, and then up here it said RP2 12 foot 11 inches head, right foot head, corner, northeast corner of room, southeast corner of room, number 3 male, female 1, knife 6. It's not foot, but okay. There it shows Xana and Kaylee in her room. Okay, so we're going to get into these photos, kind of where we left off in coming into, I think that's Bethany's room, but where they were flipped. Some of these photos are going to be graphic. Try to do it like that. There. Hey, Shelby, good to see you. Someone interviewed Joseph Scott Morgan, and he said they did a very good job of documenting everything with Blue Star. Okay, yeah, but I didn't see it react, so I had some questions about that. Some of these photos are going to be graphic, and I just want you to be aware of that. I feel like it's important to show some of them. I'm not going to show all of them because there is a photo of Xana. Well, you can see her in the photo, and I'm not going to show that. I'm going to attempt not to show that unless it pops up by accident. But some of these are going to show blood, and it's going to be very graphic, but I feel like it's important to understand how and why the blood could have been coming down the foundation like it was in that video that we put out, that I put out. talking about this case originally, where I went through the photos that night, and I'm going to pull that up in the background so I can show you exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, I've got that up. All right. So in this photo, which I do believe is Bethany's room, we had that photo, like this was marked, but I think it's like one of those things where you hang pictures on the wall. I don't think it's really anything important. I've never gave trigger warning notices. If things like this bother you, you should avoid true crime completely. I agree with that. A lot of people get upset if you don't. So I just throw up a banner. Okay. So here we have Xana's room. What's interesting to me now that I've seen the photo. Okay, wait a minute. So Xana was, I think she's over here. Okay, I guess we're going to, hold on a minute. Let me do this in a way that doesn't. Okay. So this photo is going to be, it's one of the bad ones, but I need it to understand location. And it's not going to show anything. This right here is her arm, okay? And she's in front of these baskets. And I think if we go back, so you see this right here, like this, where my mouse is, right here by this plus and minus, that is her arm. This is the one where she's laying and she's in front of these baskets, okay? So I think if we go back up here to this photo, I think this thing is where those baskets are, and they've removed the baskets. So she would have been laying like right here, if I'm understanding correctly. And if she was laying right here, my question then would be, where this blue star is and it's lit up, is that where the altercation took place? Because that seems to be a lot of blood. Or like we were talking about over here, you can see the blue star or the amino acid reactant that was poured everywhere. Like it's poured on the door. It lights up darker right here, but this is obviously where it's poured on the door, and it doesn't appear to be in reaction to proteins or blood, because if that was the case, then that would tell me that he cleaned up, and we know that he has no way of cleaning up, because if that was the case, all of this would be blood like running down the door. And the only way that happens is if somebody's sitting up against the door and uses a firearm and shoots themselves or something. So this appears to be just where they poured it. And then over here is the reactant. Okay. So is this then where they poured it, or is it the reactant? Because you can see it's darker right here. And then there's obviously stuff all on the back of the nightstand where she appears to have grabbed it. My other question is, when we look at this, how did Ethan not wake up? It's horrible. What is? I don't know if his attorneys would have shared it. You know, Cara sent me something, and she said that they were going to try to say that the K-bar, the knife sheath, like this, the sheath was planted. Now, my question is, as we talked about yesterday, if the knife sheath was planted, you see how on Mr. Speculating's knife, he's got two, but this is a mossy oak, not a K-bar knife. But I have to open, like I got to unsnap this, right? So my DNA is going to be on this from where I unsnapped it. And then you pull out the knife, right? So if it was planted, how would his touch DNA be on the knife sheath, exactly where you would have to open it to get the knife out? Two papers that I put in the picture show you where they were found and what position. Okay. So let's go back. That's what I thought it was, but I didn't see it on here. Oh, look, it's right there. Okay. So Xana was found, Ethan was found over here by the wall. Thank you for that. And then Xana was found over here, and her head is indeed in front of the white thing that we were just looking at. I don't know. It's hard for me to zoom in where y'all can see it, but that's at the bottom left right here. Let me remove this banner for a second. Might make it easier. So you see where it says number 2, that's where Xana was, and that little square thing is that white box that had the bins in it. And then Ethan was located on the bed. So if we go back to this photo is where we were at. Ethan was over here on the bed and Xana was in front of here, kind of laying like that. So that would make more sense because the blood would pull up as she had laid there and bled. But I don't, like, unless this is after they've already moved things, they put stuff where her body would have been. That nightstand table is like, I mean, my God, it's like where you fell up against it and somebody was grabbing it and then there's just blood every fucking where. I mean, this crime was just so brutal. Thank you so much, Deadpool. I appreciate that. I'm not impressed that they demolished the house so fast. It wasn't smart. Somebody had pointed out that the blue star being everywhere, because we'll see more pictures in a minute where they just poured it everywhere. And I don't know how easy it is to get that stuff up. You know? I was behind. I must have slipped through a portal. You probably did. Okay. I work all day and spend the night editing. Well, you should definitely get your channel going back if that's something you enjoy doing. For sure. This is the chair that Brian sat in, and I've located, I don't know why my computer like didn't load certain photos. They might have been in 2 different things, but that chair definitely has blood on it. So here you get a more aerial view, and you can see if Xana was laying basically where this black thing is right now. If she was laying there, it would make, and he attacked her as she was laying down, it would make sense that there would be blood splatter on the wall right there. You can see it. It's even back here, which is interesting because at the time the drawers would have been there. Because when we looked at the photo that I covered her up, you can see the little brown fabric drawers. That table just, it's on, they've got a pink marker right here where it's on the trash bin. It's on the rug. It's just everywhere. And these up here, these are big drops of blood, like where it's slung off of the knife. So like if I have this knife and I'm stabbing somebody and then I pull it and it's got a lot of blood on it and it slings up against the wall, it would sling and like splat like that and just stay there. It was so brutal. Like, and the fact that he was able to take a plea deal, even entertain a plea deal, much less get one, is just, it makes me sick, honestly. How did Ethan slip through Xana getting attacked? Like, that kind of doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand how Ethan could have slept through Xana getting attacked, unless Ethan was attacked first and Xana was hiding or crouched or something. I don't know. And then she was attacked. I think he thought he was smarter than everyone else and had thoroughly cleaned the sheath. Yep. And he left it there as a clue to what he used, like he was playing real life Clue. Yep. I think that's entirely possible. Edith, is your daughter okay? Oh, she's okay physically. Okay, good. They used familial databases illegally, of course, so they claim, to connect the DNA to his father. Sketchy. FBI told Moscow they have to connect him to the crime. I think, really. That is interesting. I remember hearing about when they used the familial DNA. Him is king of anything. Apparently, they were, but could you be so blackout drunk or passed out that you sleep through something like that, screaming, fighting, everything? I don't know. Yeah, it's bad. Could you be drunked out to the point to where you don't hear somebody fighting in the same room as you, and like an attack happening to the brutality of all of this blood right here? Because I'm thinking, Lordy Jesus, all of that is more than likely Xana's. So all of this is going on literally a foot away from you and you don't hear it? I don't know. I don't drink. There is evidence he woke up during or after the attack because he had Xana's blood under his nails. Okay. So Xana would have had to be first then, or being attacked. Okay. Okay. Yes, you can. There's evidence that Ethan and Xana were in close proximity to each other at some point after the assault began, as evidence in the blood under Ethan's right fingernails and Ethan's blood under Xana's nails and hand. Okay. So you could be that blackout drunk, but he also woke up at some point. Okay. These are two different strikes. This blood splatter pattern is going straight up and down, while this one hit the wall right here at an angle, and then gravity took effect and brought it down. These, I'm sure we'll get a better picture of. They look all the same, but I mean, it's just, that's a lot of blood. What is on the bed? A pin? Yeah. It's blood splatter all over the place. See, here you can see swipe marks and things where, like, it appears an altercation took place. Think about like stepping in like water on the floor. It's going to move, and if it was colored water, like, or blood, it would move, it would leave marks, shoe prints, things like that. Which I'm thinking they got from that. So that's the entrance to the room. I think this is the, stop it. I think that's the second floor area where they drank, and the couch is right here where you see the photo of the video of them. Hey, Neva. So they snorted Adderall and drank. The crash out would have been hard. Also, she may not have been able to scream anymore. Depends on when she was first attacked. That's true. Or it appears that way, because I did just see a picture today where it appeared to show something. Angela, good to see you. Good to see you. Devastating in all senses of the words. Absolutely. Ethan had to be passed out when he passed out. Otherwise, Koberger would have got whooped. Yeah, that's true. And this is the table where the knife was found. And then we were talking about yesterday, there appears to be something on the table, but it could be drinks or something like that. That stairwell having blood, though, is weird for me. So if that's Xana's room, then maybe he grabbed her while she was here and there, or stabbed her or something, and that's why the blood is there. And then she ran into the room. The altercation really ensued in there, and then that's where she was homicided. Is that her room? Just trying to see if there's blood. The bathroom. Don't look like he used the bathroom to clean himself or anything, which he wouldn't. Yeah, that's her room. So maybe that explains the blood on the stairwell, because if she met him there, something happened quickly with a knife, and then she goes in the room to try to get away, and the fight ensues there. Okay, that makes sense. To be honest, I can't really back evidence in few recent cases. This one especially. I mean, nothing is impossible, just improbable, right? Hey, little bit of Lisa. I could sleep through all that at times. Adding alcohol, I definitely could. Okay. Explains noises and barking from the other footage released. Yep. If there was some type of altercation, a quick one where she might have been injured but not seriously hurt in the stairwell, and then she runs into the room and tries to shut the door, but he's pursuing her to where she can't, and then the altercation ensues. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, Deadpool. That's awful. Feels like a burning hot poker entering and exiting. I scream loudly, but sometimes you don't know, even you don't even know you were stabbed. Right. And in that instance, I don't know if she would have known that, especially with the adrenaline pumping and the fear of seeing somebody in your house that's just stabbing you. She probably didn't realize until she was in the room. What alarms me about the table is so close to the stairs, all the cups are standing up straight up. That's a good point, Angela. Lord Jesus, Basil is scratching on the door. It scared the shit out of me. Let's go back to the table. So if there was some type of altercation ensued because there is blood, if this is the stairwell where the blood is that we were looking at yesterday, how are these cups standing up right here? Over there, maybe, but these are still standing up perfectly. And there appears to be, it looks like blood, but it's not. It's, well, I don't know if it is or not. It could be a drink that spilled, like a fruity drink. See, stop it. Damn computer. There we go. Those brown bins right there are what she's laying on the floor right here. And the table is moved, but not as significantly as it is in the other picture. Is there blood on the ceiling? There's something right there that could be. Which, I mean, again, it would make sense because there is an altercation that took place. So the table's not moved as significantly as I'd originally thought, but there is significant blood there. Damn. Like it's even on the side of the Coors box. But it looks like an imprint because we know that Brian sat down and there's the blood on the chair where he sat down. And his leg could have touched against that after he had the fight and the everything, and he sat down and caught his breath for a second. Sorry. Even the surviving roommate partied that night with both substances and alcohol, which would explain how she slept through and didn't believe any of what happened. Yeah, we're going to see a photo of that, I think. It'll show it. And if it does, if we get to that point, it'll, but it, I mean, again, it's an iffy photo to show, right? Because it shows drug use evidence, but it's not uncommon for students to use Adderall, especially when they're studying for exams and things like that. And for me, it all seems normal. I've snorted Adderall in the past, not something that I didn't really like it, so I didn't do it that much. But I don't think that that makes them bad people at all. Actually, Adderall is something I've heard a lot of college kids do to help them stay up, study for exams, and all of that. Trash can was over here and it's knocked over. And again, the beer cans, it's just kids being kids, in my opinion. No, the knife on the table, I thought that too, Angela. The knife on the table is, so when Bethany and Dylan got up, one of them called their friend over to come and look in the house because they were afraid to go out. So that person grabbed a knife just in case somebody was still in there, and then called the cops after he did a walkthrough. Shown pictures that confirm theories such as the animation you played. I think so, yeah. which I'll pull that animation back up. The autopsy of one of the victims, I want to say Xana, her blood alcohol level was 0.28 or something absurd. Damn. One had a prescription of it. I thought nothing of it either. Yeah. And recreational, so much hardship would disappear from this world if this would happen. Absolutely. I definitely don't drink. I don't like to drink. It makes me sleepy. But yeah, absolutely. Ellie Ghost, I don't know how to say your name. Thank you for being here. Yeah. So I'll refresh you guys on this animation real quick that shows what could have happened allegedly. I'm going to start with him entering the house, though. I think this is about where it's at.
Windows to make sure all the lights are off.
This is where he's driving.
As he begins to drive around the end of the apartment complex, camera B records the time of 4:07. Fast forwarding a little bit,
You're good.
Koberger drives to the back parking lot away from other residences. He takes a few minutes looking around and sees that nobody's out and that all is quiet. He eventually grabs his things, gets out of the vehicle, and begins walking to the back of the home. At approximately 4:13 a.m., he begins to make entry. As he steps in, he
That's
takes
crazy.
a minute to make sure everything is quiet and that nobody is truly up. He walks to the entrance of the living room and looks around. He continues to be cautious and stands there listening.
Okay, wait a minute. I apologize.
Feeling confident
What floor are they saying this is?
he's truly up. He walks to the entrance of the living room and looks around.
I think this is the second floor.
He continues to be cautious and stands there listening.
Hold on. We're going to find out.
Feeling confident, he continues upstairs. As he makes his way to Maddie's room, the time is about 4:14.
Yeah, that's the second floor. Okay. So we were looking.
Meanwhile,
The second floor has the beer pong table.
2 minutes later, Xana takes a break from TikTok and walks into the kitchen.
And her room is right there by that stairwell. So that could, if there is an altercation that took place after Santa comes back up and then she goes back in the room, that absolutely would explain why there's a little bit of blood splatter in the stairwell and things like that. That doesn't appear to be, it appears to be from something happening there, and it's not from him rubbing his sleeve or his glove on the stairwell. There is one that shows that, but there's also drops that appear to be cast off from something, and it absolutely could be from where he attacked Xana as she was trying to go back in the room. Yep. Yeah, it probably does.
To the kitchen. Evidence shows her activity on the app stopped at 4:16. As she enters the kitchen, she's a little shocked to see the sliding glass door wide open. And at the same time, she hears a serious commotion going on upstairs. Hey everyone, I don't usually ask.
Hold on.
A source revealed that Santa's phone recorded steps and elevation change, which is how it's known she went to the kitchen and the third floor. When she walked up to Maddie's doorway, she interrupted Koberger, who had just finished an intense battle with Kaylee, who fought back violently. After a second or two, he notices her, and then she turns away. Being dark, Xana didn't realize what she was seeing other than a shadowy figure. Out of fear, she quickly leaves. A single source, unaffiliated with the media, claims Koberger injured Xana on the third floor hallway, leaving evidence of blood there. But the single source...
So she's standing there and she sees him. This is not going to take place slowly. He's going to run after her. And if he injured her on that stairwell, maybe it's that stairwell that we're seeing in the photos or this stairwell, either one, she's still injured and there could be cast off where she's running. I think an altercation absolutely took place in one of those stairwells with Xana. I absolutely do. It is a weirdly shaped house. Hey, Kimmy C123, good to see you.
Single source of information has not been validated by any more sources. Continuing, Koberger, without thinking, pursues her all the way to her room, not realizing he had dropped the sheath of his knife. When he gets to the room, he attacks Xana, and the time is precisely 4:17:30. We know this because of camera A captured the sound of screaming and the thud.
What is that thud? Unless it's them fighting and her falling on the ground where they're fighting. If that hasn't been debunked. I've heard that's been debunked and it wasn't accurate.
After attacking Xana, Kohberger focuses his attention on Ethan and attacks him while he slept. Afterwards,
now that might not be true because there's blood from them under each other's fingernails, and the fact that I don't think he slept through all of that. I just don't.
Kohberger must have sat down in a chair, according to a report, which found blood smears on Xana's chair, perhaps from the exhaustion of what he had just done.
And I think his leg right here touched the Coors Light box right here. I think he sat down right there, and that explains the blood on the chair right there, and then his leg touched the Coors Light box. And there's a mirror right there. He looked at himself in the mirror and felt proud of what he did because he finally felt something. I hope he feels a lot more in jail. I wonder if he looked at himself in the mirror while he was attacking Xana. The way stuff is strewn about, it's hard to tell if it's just because I do believe by seeing the cans in the stairwell and on the floor that they had some type of party there that night. But I don't know if it was from the party that there's beer cans and stuff everywhere, or if they got strewed about during the altercation. But there's like beer cans on the floor in almost every room, which tells me a party happened. Hey, Miss Holly. Hey, Jenny. Dylan opened her door several times, heard all this, saw Kohberger walk by leaving, and still did nothing. Well, she could have thought she was fucked up. They could have, for all we know, I don't know what they were doing that night. She could have thought that she was seeing things or dreaming or was just fucked up. There was a lot of people in and out. They had a party that night. So while things might have appeared as weird, maybe they thought it was somebody that was still there from the party, or like, you know, because there's several college kids in this house. And maybe they thought this dark figure was somebody like one of the girls had over, was like letting stay the night from the party, and didn't realize that this person was going through and killing people. They just thought that somebody was there from the party and up walking around, maybe looking for the bathroom, looking for another beer, looking for something to eat. You have to be very careful because until we're in that situation, we don't know what we would do. We know what we think we would do, but we don't really know until we're in that situation, and they are victims of this crime. The body cam from before, yeah. We don't know what Dylan had in her system. Yeah, it appears, yeah. There's several body cams that show that they are used to people coming in and out. Look, these kill me. Let that shit go. I'm a sucker for you. I say kill me. That was the right choice of words, but like they're little motivational little posters and stuff that they make. Just girls being girls that should have had their whole lives ahead of them. Wish you were here. On pink flowers. That just breaks my heart, man. So these are going to be drops from the knife, where there was a significant amount of blood on the knife or on him, and it's just dropping as he's walking. Or it could have been, it depends on, it could have been Xana's where she might have been hurt before and she's not realizing it, and she's trying to back into the room or go into the room to get away from him. But I don't see footprints or smudges in them, so it makes me think it was from him leaving, because they're all in front of the doorway, so he would have had to step in that when he was leaving if it was from Xana. You lived in Wichita when BK was, when the bound, torture, kill was arrested. It is sad. Remnants of a life in full force. Absolutely, a little bit. It is really sad. In my honest opinion, if they were all partying the way Dylan said they were, which I 100% believe after hearing some of their talks reports, I think he chose that night because he thought they were going to be easy targets. And see, that makes me even more pissed off. Like, why not fight them when they're able to fight back? I mean, it's done a lot by these serial killers and things. They attack the most vulnerable. Like, why not attack somebody that can fight back, that can actually stand up for themselves? If you really want to feel something, why not do that? You fucking assholes. I stand by none of us know how we would react in that situation. And I stand on that. I have no questions on the roommate's actions because it really doesn't impact the outcome, in my opinion. Absolutely.
Boom, 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 bam.
Yep. Kaylee had moved out and come back one more time to show Maddie her new car. Yep. Yep. She wasn't even supposed to be there. Which makes it even more sad. That right there on the bottom of the dresser, just, I don't know if it's blood splatter or what. It looks like blood splatter. That's a lot of blood. But we're going to see. Shit. We're going to see that more in a minute. Yeah, I mean, it's just blood everywhere. Evidence of a very frenzied attack. I don't think he planned on her being awake. It's definitely reminiscent of an altercation right there, in my opinion. It really pissed me off the way the surviving roommates were attacked. They were victims. They have to live with all this trauma for the rest of their lives. Absolutely. I saw Blue Devil. Thank you for that. There are some where you can see her. I saw it and I tried to move it real quick, but yeah, just these photos are graphic, and I have a trigger warning up. Just be careful. Protect your peace, and try not to show a bunch. There are some in here that show it though. I'm attempting to not show that. The refrigerator, she's got a magnet that said practice safe sex, go fuck yourself. I mean, it's just so, just kids being kids, man. It's very sad. This is what I want to see. That appears to be blood splatter cast off because you can see where it hit with velocity and then goes that way. Like it hit with such velocity, it splashes and goes that way. Just so much fucking blood. How is the lighter staying in place on the table? This is the nightstand, which was right beside the bed. And I want to know how it got under there like that, because this thing right here has the tan and brown colored bins where Xana was right in front of. So how did it go under and then up on the wall if the bins were there blocking that from happening when it originally happened? How did it get back here? Because the bins would have blocked that. It's on the mirror. And that's cast off where he's fighting with Xana. And it hit with velocity. And you can see, it's really hard to see, but there's a little itty bitty like splash right there where this drop of blood hit and then splashed and cast that way. And it hasn't even had time to run. You can see a couple of the splash marks. But it's not on top of the table either. So that tells me he's attacking her while she's laying on the floor right here in front of this. But how the hell did it get on the wall back there? Ethan was in the bed, but yes, Xana was on the floor. If I misspoke, I meant Xana was on the floor in front of the brown things right here. I didn't mean to misspeak if I said that it was Ethan. I apologize. I meant Xana. This right here, let me move this. Yeah, it was a massacre. It was absolutely a fucking massacre. That should have never fucking happened. Right here by my magnifying glass, where it goes in and out, this right here, that looks like where something touched it. It almost looks like a palm print. And if I'm thinking about how that might have happened, what comes to mind for me is Xana running back in the room and possibly being already injured. And then he like grabs her, they're having the altercation, and her palm hits the table or like touches the table and moves the table, and he's just attacking the fuck out of her and stabbing her. And that's how the blood's getting here. She's standing by the table at this point. The altercation, because she, okay, if you think about her running in the room, backing up into the room, just kind of walking backwards, trying to get away from them, probably in a position like this. And then he's just stabbing her, and her hand touches that table and moves the table, and then she falls down because there is so much blood here. That would tell me that he is attacking her in such a frenzy and just stabbing her and stabbing her and stabbing her. And that's why all this blood would be here. She might be backing up still in the room and upright at this point, but then falls down. They have the altercation still because she's still fighting right here beside the bed. And then she ends up in front of this. This is, like I said, these are going to be graphic. This is where her body was laying in front of these brown things right here. There is a photo that you'll probably see that shows her hair on this pillow. It's interesting to me that there was a pillow under her head, because the odds of them having that altercation and her landing on that pillow are very slim. Did he put a pillow under her? These pics are at different times, and the police slung stuff in the bathroom. Yeah, it's hard. That's irritating because it'll show stuff that's been moved, right? And I'm like, I need to see it the original way. See, if we go back to that, you see how there's so much blood piled up right here by that table. Like, it's just a lot of blood like that. And with it being moved, I think she absolutely was backing into the room and then pushes the table or trying to, fight him. The table gets pushed out of the way because she's upright at that point. And that again would explain why this blood is so thick right here, because he's stabbing the fuck out of her and it's just falling. Then she falls down. That's when all of this takes place. And you see all the scuff marks and all of the marks on the ground because she's bleeding at this point significantly. They're having an altercation right here. And then she ends up over here, and that's where she finally, unfortunately, died. But there's no way for all of this to be there unless she's upright at this point and seriously injured. And you can tell that because there's blood on the side of it and big drops of it right here. She's significantly injured, falls down, altercation takes place, and her final resting place is going to be right here with her head on this pillow. That's why I need to see the photos, because it tells me how things happened and in the order that it happened. I can assume. Obviously, I'm not a forensic scientist. I wasn't there. I don't know if that's exactly how that happened, but that's what it tells me. Did he say something to her? I'm here to help. They were saying that too, that I'm here to help was said. I read that somewhere. I've heard that he said to one of them, I'm here to help. He went there to delete someone, in my opinion, for a thrill. I don't know if he planned all for. Yeah, I don't think he planned all for it all. I think he thought that he was just going to go in and hurt Maddie. Yes, Maddie. Because I think she's the one that, correct me if I'm wrong, because like I've said, I don't know this case, and I do have the link pinned if anybody wants to come up and talk or correct me. She's the one that worked at the vegan restaurant that he had went to. I think that, just like you see in the movies, like he picked someone completely random, like we've seen in movies, and he picked her at the vegan restaurant, and then he followed her, or realized, or maybe he was at a party or something. Anyway, he picked her either from a party at the house or from the vegan restaurant, or maybe from both, and she was the intended target. He gets there and Kaylee's in the bed with her. So then he's dealing with Kaylee and Maddie. Then he realizes that Xana saw him, so he's got to go take Xana out, unfortunately. And Ethan, of course, is in the bed and is not just more than likely sleeping through that. So he had to take Ethan out, and that's why he sat down in the chair, because he did not plan to commit 4 homicides. I think he planned to commit 1 while everybody was asleep. That's probably where she actually passed, by the table. He probably moved her the other way. That's a possibility too. That is a possibility. And it would make sense too, because there's a lot of blood. So either this blood happened as she was unfortunately leaving this earthly plane and they're having this altercation. Or, I mean, because there's so much, she laid there for a second and bled out, and then he moved her. This looks like, that looks like a shoe print, that round right there. So he could have, that could be where he's like, let me show you what I'm talking about. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it, but like if I have a person and they're laying like this, I'm probably going to reach down, pick them up like this, and then move, pivot, and then lay them down if I'm laying them somewhere, right? And that would explain the shoe mark. Hold on. That round thing right there, that looks like it could be the imprint of a shoe. If he's standing here, over here, he picks her up and then pivots or walks over here and then lays her down here, that would explain that to me. And this could be the imprint of her clothes, because obviously she's still going to be bleeding. And so that could be where her clothes were out on the floor as she was bleeding. When an artery is hit, blood shoots from it, and it may be a darker in color. And some of this blood is darker in color. I absolutely believe that he hit an artery, and that could be where that is, because at this point she's still upright trying to fight for her life, but he's hit an artery and she's just pouring blood. And again, pouring blood here while this altercation happens, and either she died right there and he moved her, or she ended up dying over here. But there is more blood over here, so that would make more sense that she actually died over here. I followed this case since the beginning, and it's been nonstop crazy details about every name here. Yeah, a lot of you had. I just, thank you so much. I don't like it that much. I feel like it makes me look fat, but thank you so much. I haven't followed this case, and I don't mean any disrespect to anybody, because I haven't followed it as much as some of you have. But for me, this is how I learned what happened, and I haven't read all the documents. And so, the police, I know they're trained, or, whoever made the documents might portray it as one way and they're trained to do it, but I might see something that they don't, because I don't know the case. But for me, this is how I understand it, unfortunately. He watched Clue, among others. Oh, I've heard that. I've heard he watched Illuminati. Linda Smith, good to see you. Xana could have gotten away if she went left out the sliding door. He probably would have ran. Probably, but I don't think she would have left Ethan. It's been implied that he might have come into the house multiple times. The roommate said Maddie saw a guy behind the house one time, and that the dog Murphy used to bark at the woods when outside. Oh, I think he probably stalked the hell out of them. He's very much similar to BTK. I was in Wichita. I studied that monster. Now seeing pics, I see the similarities. And I think he could have studied him too. I think he studied Ted Bundy as well. So this is graphic, right? But here you can see the blood piled up. I mean, here it's just pulled, right? And this is important for me to see because it explains this. I think I'll zoom in on it. And here they close up zoom on it. Like, where is it coming from? Oh my God. Oh my God. Is it coming from the floor inside the house and leaking outside? So this photo shows that that absolutely is what is happening in my opinion, because Ethan's laying here and you can see all of this blood is just pulled up and dark, and the bed was over here because they've moved it at this point, and you can just see it pulled up on the floor, and all of this right here that's redacted, even in that corner, there was so much blood here that it literally pulled up, went under the baseboard, and the fucking house was bleeding on the outside. There's fucking blood literally pouring from the house over the foundation. That's how fucking graphic this was. That's how awful this was. And that motherfucker was given a fucking plea deal. Darzilla, good to see you. Yeah, Ethan, yep. I think he went to Washington U because of Bundy. That's where he studied psychology for his master's. Bundy, yep. He did with the professor to write the book on BTK. Yep. I think he looked at what BTK did and decided, I'm going to do that, but I'm going to wear protective gear so I don't leave evidence behind like he did. Yep. Absolutely. Hey, Darzilla, I heard on another channel that he attacked Xana. She ran to the bedroom. She was hurt and he saw Ethan and attacked him. Xana was crawling away and he attacked her again. Yep. That's kind of what we're piecing together here. I agree. This is just so brutal, frenzy. I mean, again, I think he studied serial killers and he wanted to feel something, so he did this. But I mean, that's just it's so much blood that the fucking house was bleeding. I know a lot of people have issues with the fact that the house was torn down. I don't. There's too much negative energy and things there that I don't think that it should have stayed. There was people trying to break in and get photos, and I'm glad it got torn down. This looks like it was dragged, but it's not. It's like, I guess where it was coming from the bed and then running down because the floor is probably not level. But I mean, right there, you can see that's probably where the blood that's on the outside is coming from. It just pulled up and it's going under the baseboard. Why? Like, there's got to be more aspects to it too, other than he just wanted to feel something. It is. It's very unreal. They know he attacked Maddie and Kaylee first because their blood is present in Xana and Ethan's room. Yep. Hey, Rubber. Okay, a little bit. Good to see you, love. Yeah, please leave if because these photos are not, they're bad. And then here, where he was being attacked, I don't know if his arm or he was laying up against the wall. Actually, he probably was laying up against the wall, and this is where he was laying because it goes down and it just started pulling up right here and then went down. And then it's also pulling up, on the bed, on the side, under the mattress, and then going under. But how is this Keystone Light beer can here and it's not got blood on it? Oh, I know why. Because it's running down. It wasn't right here. Like it ran down and pulled up right there. Because as you can see, the blood on this side of the Keystone Light can is thicker. So it's pulling up under the where this Keystone Light can is, and then it's going under it and continuing to take the flow of gravity, flow down, go under the baseboard, and leak out. The fucking sheer brutality. Like, that's a lot of blood. Ethan's blood is what I'm seeing the most of. And is that because he was male? Because Brian Koberger was afraid that Ethan would attack him, so he killed him. Like, he made sure the job was done, so to speak. If he was sick enough to move part. No, I think that Riley, good to see you. Riley Rue. Honestly, I think that is just one of those bags. I think this is all stuff that was under the bed. There's clothes, there's a pillow, there's a Keystone Light can. I think this greenery was probably hanging up around the tapestry that's on the wall. And then these are like grocery bags, you know. Hold on. Hold on. I got one out here. No, it's in the kitchen. You have to give me just a second. I'll show you what it is. Hold on. I'm coming back now. So it's one of these bags, right? With the little hands and stuff. And I think it's just under her bed for when they went shopping, and you know, they would get like that gray one is one of the ones that keeps the items cold. So I think it's just she put stuff under her bed for storage, and that stuff got pushed to the back over time because you know everybody has those bags lying around, and they're usually you lose them over time or they get pushed somewhere out of the way. And I think that's what happened there. She had those bags, but they got pushed all the way up under the bed because she didn't use them frequently. And the Keystone Light can and the clothes. I mean, you know, it looks like possibly a hairbrush right there or something, maybe a mirror, a little hand mirror. I think that's just stuff that got pushed up under the bed over time. A pillow that could have fallen in between the wall and stuff. You know how you get stuff under your bed. I think he had several bags stashed outside to store his protective gear in and then burned everything far away. That's a possibility. You have the same bag, do you? Yeah. Xana's bed. Yeah, Ethan's on Xana's bed, but I think Xana, I don't know if I keep misspeaking and interchanging the two, but I think that it just stuff got pushed up under there over time. Because they've got it pulled out right now to show just the amount of blood. And they moved it because this pink blanket would not have been there. This pink blanket would be completely covered in blood like this pillow is and the side of the bed. And you can just see on the bed frame where it's just pulling up. Like, do you know how much he had to have been stabbed for it to do all of that? We do know he's guilty because he admitted to it. His own damn sister suspected him. Yep. Yes, this is Ethan's blood because Ethan was on Xana's bed. Cass England said it definitely looks like drag marks. It looks too neat for running blood, like there was some weight to the marks. It does, doesn't it? But it's weird for me because what would be dragged there unless they moved that shirt? Because that shirt has a significant amount of blood on it. So unless they move that shirt, but what would he have dragged here? Like, that's the only thing I can think of. But it does. Unless it's from where they were moving the bed. Because that, maybe it's from the stand of the bed, like the leg of the bed there, where they moved it, because this could have been where it was at originally, and then they scooted the bed over that way. But that still doesn't explain this. That is where blood ran down right there. This is where some pulled up. Like, it doesn't explain it. I don't know how that happened. But I think maybe that is from the bed moving, them moving the bed over. But what would be there under the bed? Unless he's laying on the floor against the wall and they move him somehow. But I don't think that's, I mean, looking at the, hold on, here, it shows that he is in the bed and his head is kind of in between the bed and the wall. Let me see if y'all can see it. Oh, yeah, you can see it. So right there where it says male number 3, it shows his head kind of in between the bed and the wall. So unless he's like laying half off the bed and his head is on the ground, but that's still drag marks. I don't, like I said, that looks square could be where the bed was sitting and they moved the bed that way. But this and this, it doesn't explain that. Unless that could be where blood ran down. Maybe that. I don't know, man. Something had to be right here. Like, the bed would not have been right here and far against the, like, that far away from the wall, unless this space was open and the bed was right here. Like, this like right here could have been the edge of the bed. But then what is laying right here to make this blood drop like that, splatter and pull up right there and pull up right here? Unless his head is hanging off or his arm is hanging off or something halfway on and off the bed. Does that make sense? IDV, you too, love. Maybe the yellow material was at that until they moved the bed over. Possibly the red shirt. Yeah, I saw it. I'll try to share it before we go for the day. See, up here, it appears to have like this around the baseboard, I would think, where the blood pulled up and then, like, as it dripped, it splattered onto the baseboard. But this is from the altercation. All of this on the wall. Some of this might not be, but especially like that up there is definitely going to be from an altercation. Mm. That's hair, but I think that might be hair that she cut. I hope to God that's not like hair attached to a scalp. It is short. So in this picture, we're up against the wall again, kind of where the bed was. This looks like something burnt. And it is on top of the blood. So I don't know what that is. Unless it's blood and it's darker, but it looks like actual, like burnt paper or something sitting on top of it. That's definitely hair, but I don't think that's part of a scalp with hair attached. It did say in a report part of his scalp, so maybe that is what that is then. Hey, Abraham, good to see you. I think it was a giant puddle. It drained after Ethan passed because his head was hanging off the edge of the bed. He literally slit his throat. That's the initial splatter on the wall. Makes sense. What is this black stuff here then, I wonder? That looks like burnt paper. But see, when you look at the wall right here, that looks black too, and we know that's the blood splatter. So is it blood splatter? It's just darker? Mm, God almighty. This motherfucker should have never got a plea deal. I don't remember exactly, but the police report does tell you in detail the positioning of their bodies and where all were found. I think Ethan was between the bed against the wall almost. Okay, that makes sense. If it's bleeding from an artery, yeah, the Hannah was informing us that blood from an artery is going to be darker. Yeah, could be dried puddle blood. Okay. Think about when you get cut and the blood dries on your arm or something, it pulls and oxidizes. Yeah, that makes sense. Now look, I mean, this looks like an imprint, okay? This is where Xana would have been laying. Stop it, computer. This is where Xana's body would have been laying. I know, like, we all think about, butt prints, but I don't think that's butt prints. Like, you'd have, not trying to be any kind of, like, please don't take me the wrong way when I say this, but in order to leave butt prints like that, she'd have to have a Nicki Minaj type butt, I'm thinking. I don't think that's butt prints, but what else? What could that be? That's prints from something right here. And then that's a swipe mark. These are all swipes, but these down here are drops. Probably from the altercation. And then we got a Taco Bell seasoning. These two round things are weird to me. It looks like maybe they were the little let me see. Like, I'm thinking that it could be, excuse my hands, they have resin on them. My daughter and I were doing the dark resin, but like little hair ties like this that could have been on the floor, sitting there underneath her body, like between the floor and her body. And so it made the imprint of like little hair ties in blood. Hold on, I'll show you. The little hair ties like this, do you know what I'm saying? Like maybe if they were sitting on the floor underneath her body where she bled at. That's what that looks like to me. This right here, but I don't know what this is. Yeah, the plea deal was definitely bullshit. On her side, I'm mad about the plea deal, but I love life without the possibility of parole. He's stuck in a filthy place, not able to get the quality vegan food he demands. Other inmates bullying him constantly, and the guards look away. Bottle caps from water bottles. That makes sense. Possibly, yeah. Yep. Absolutely could be. It looks like the butt print in that smear near the right cheek could have been her thigh moving. Oh, yeah, it might be. So this smear right here could have been her thigh moving, and that it could be the butt print. I don't know. Hold on. That's blood splatter on the wall that we've already seen. This is from Maddie's room, where Maddie and Kaylee were. Where's my... Jesus. Okay. So yeah, that shows the blood on the light. These are photos of the stairs. So this is that's the one we see initially with the beer cans, which again is just indicative of a party possibly going on that night, which I think is completely normal. And then we have this stairwell, and I think that's the stairwell that goes up to Kaylee's room. I mean, Maddie's room, where Maddie and Kaylee were. These are from the news. Okay, this shows the computer, the laptop on the chair. This is the photo of the chair, and then there's a close-up of the blood that got left in the chair. This is in Xana's room, and that's from Brian sitting on the chair. Now, I don't think the laptop was there at that time, but I could be wrong. I thought I forgot a lot of stuff, but seeing this brings it all back. Yeah. Xana fought, and so did Kaylee. Kaylee's face was disfigured from what I remember. This blood on the phone is weird because it's like a smear print. But I think Xana could have possibly tried to grab the phone to call 911, and then it was kind of knocked from her hand. This is the photo where you can see her hair. So if we're going to go back to talking about the placement of, like, if Xana was placed there, okay? Because in this photo, her body's still there, and you can see her hair right here on the pillow. Was she placed there, and then Brian Koberger sat there to, like, admire his work or to look at her as she fucking died or something? Damn. Because it's like, you know, we know he sat in the chair, and I think this smear right here is from his leg touching that Coors Light box, and her body's right here. Like, he literally would have been sitting over her. That shows Xana's room. I don't see a handprint. Maybe that's a palm print, though. That does look like a palm print where she tried to call she might have tried to call 911. But is the napkin like where he might have tried to wipe it off? Do we think Brian Koberger tried to wipe the phone off with the napkin? They absolutely do. I'm still standing by my theory he posed Xana like BTK posed his victims, possibly. That makes sense. They definitely show how evil people can be. It was very senseless crime. So this is the bottom of the nightstand. I think that Xana was upright at this time, fighting with him. I don't know, though, because if she was, then where she was laid at, there would be pulled up blood like Ethan had. So maybe this is where she died. She was upright, you know, and originally she died right here, and then he moved her over to where we see her on the pillow. And that goes back to that he could have possibly posed them. I didn't think so. Lotus Spider, good to see you. I don't think he would have had time, because if that were the case, then the blue star that was on the door, when we looked at that and how it ran down it again, there's no way that happened unless he had time to clean, which I don't think he did either. This is in Xana's room because there's that tapestry, and that shows the blood on the wall from the altercation with Ethan. You can see the bed is much closer to the wall, but this redacted is going to be Ethan. And that, I'm sorry, that shows the altercation and where blood went smeared against the wall. I mean, cast off. And you can see this one might have been from in the way they go around in that angle would be indicative of somebody stabbing down and then coming back stabbing. That's blood on her blanket and on that pink quilt that she had on there. It's right here, right here, right here, right here, right here, 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 there, there. And then obviously you can see where it's at on the pink. On this pink blanket, it looks like where somebody touched it or their clothing touched it or they bumped up against it. I stand by my theory that Xana was upright over here in this corner and then he stabbed her and she started to bleed significantly, falls on the floor where this altercation takes place and then dies there, and then he moved her over here. But here you can see they've got stuff stored under the bed all over the place under there. So I just think that those bags in the corner was where stuff was under the bed when he bled out. I think it's definitely transfer. Trouble believing he didn't leave blood in his car. Excuse me. Yeah. People have suggested maybe he put a shower curtain in there, but yeah, it's really interesting that all this blood is here. I mean, just a tremendous amount of blood. And he didn't leave any blood in his car? That is weird. You can see the cast off. It's at the top, but it's hard to see. I have to be careful. Okay. I think we're still a ways away from the other ones. I think that ivy stuff might have been up and around this tapestry that she had. These ones we already saw. Yeah, we were right here. They're marking here to show forensically where the blood splatter evidence is. And again, I think most of it happened in this corner. There is cast off up here. There's a drop there and then another drop here. And these different, like all of these go in different angles to show different times that Ethan more than likely was stabbed. And then over here is going to be Xana's. And I mean, you can even see the bigger blood splatters hitting over here, like where maybe an arm, like she was bleeding and blood's running down her hand and she flung her arm or whatever during this altercation, and it would have flung that splatter on the wall and it would have stayed like that. That blue star all over the floor there is one of the reasons why they probably tore this house down. I mean, it was just everywhere. Blood and blue star and all the things. That shows what I was talking about on the door. If he was wearing protective gear, booties, gloves, etc., then he wouldn't leave anything behind. I think he wore disposable protective gear like what you see doctors and nurses wear in a hospital. Yeah. Yes. Yep. Several thousand. Oh yeah, maybe he could have been caught in the comforter. It would be hard to get up. And he had a bag nearby to store everything in and booked it out of there. That's why there was no DNA in the car. Very possible. Yeah, he was in all black with a baklava on, but he could have had his gear underneath that and then just took off all of that, the black gear with the baklava, and then the biohazard suit basically with the booties and everything, which would make sense because he studied criminal psychology, so he would have known that you would have to wear all that, and then he put it in something, got that protected it from getting in his car and got the fuck out of there. Yeah, it ran down between the walls, the foundation, one big hazmat disaster. It had to come down. I believe that. I do. Good to see you, Kim. There's black biohazard suits. Is there? He bought the suit from Walmart. Yep. That is weird, Lotus Spider. And I'm not going to say it's not. It had to be really loud. But at the end of the day, like I've said before, I don't know what I would do in that situation and their victims. Look at all this Blue Star piled up right there. It's just piled. Just poured there. Yeah, that shows the straw with the card, but we knew that they snorted Adderall. I don't think that means anything really. I think that they were college kids that snorted Adderall. End of. So I think it's absolutely, I mean, you shouldn't do it, obviously, but a lot of college kids do. So nothing out of the ordinary. Yep, all she could see was his big bushy eyebrows. Yep. Why is it? Hold on. No, we saw that. Hold on just a minute. All right, I found this one that has 80 something photos. It's titled Part 4, so we're going to go through this before I go for the day. This shows photos of the back porch and stuff. That second floor entry where I think he came in at, if I'm not mistaken. Hold on. Oh, okay. So I got to scroll down. How did he go in and not? Well, I mean, unless he walked over here where there's no snow, I'm wondering how he would have got in and not left any footprints in the snow. There's a charger outside, just laying there. That's weird, but could have happened due to it being a party there just recently. Hold on. What is on the fucking the little bed there? What is this fuzzy stuff? Leaves and acorns, I guess. Maybe stuff from inside the bed, the little dog bed. That was the photo showing the internet in the house. Texas Pete. It's the little Texas Pete man. I thought it was so cool. I saw it at a gas station. Hold on. I don't know if you can see it. He's upside down there, but it says Texas Pete. I thought it was the coolest bandana I ever saw. I'm just wearing it today because I was wearing gray. Did they? That's weird. I don't think that's blood. I think they're just showing the vent. There's the couch where we get that video of them all hanging out and sitting. Somebody's hoodie's there. That's one of the roommates' cars. They would have taken the iPhone because it could have evidentiary value and they don't know at the time. There is Kaylee's new Range Rover that she had just got. Plane ticket. I guess somebody's paycheck. There's stools knocked over in the kitchen. That's weird. There was a lot of Blue Star somewhere, like showing photos of the kitchen. That's what I'm looking for. That looks like the table where they made drinks and stuff, and that was Xana's food. See here, we might be getting into them now, where they poured a lot of Blue Star all over the counters there. Look at all that Blue Star all over the counters and just everywhere. I mean, I don't think that there was any saving this house. Yeah. 80 people in chat, 43 likes. Yeah, please hit the thumbs up. Thank you for letting me know. My thing right now says there's 161, 159 now people in chat, which is insane. I don't think there's that many. Oh, I didn't think about me streaming to X at the same time. So it might be people from X. If you're from X and I can't see your comments, I do apologize. We are on YouTube. I might could see them there. Twinkle, twinkle, baby. That Blue Star being everywhere, I mean, I don't see how they could have saved the house after that. It's just everywhere, and I don't think that shit comes off easily. But like, okay, if it was reacting to blood, that means there would be blood everywhere, like all over the counter, coming, like seeping down the cabinets and stuff, and that's just not possible unless he cleaned up. And I mean, nobody was killed in the kitchen. None of that makes sense. This is the refrigerators at the top of the second stairwell, I do believe. And it's completely normal for people to have refrigerators and things like that, especially when you're living in a house with several roommates. Canon, what is that, a camera? It says Canon, so it's got to be some kind of camera. Canon Ivy. I wonder if there's the fucking car. Look how dirty. Oh, that's where they fingerprinted it and shit. There's that motherfucker's car. That was Scott. What do you say? Stargazing when it's fucking freezing outside with his phone turned off? Stop it. That's not reacting with blood, is it? On his fucking Hyundai Elantra? Hey, sourdough mama. I'm trying to make sourdough. I've got a sourdough starter right now I've been working on. I hope that I'm trying to make sourdough. I don't know if it's working out very well. Double smash burger, cheesy fries, and a can of Coke. Is that what she ordered? Hold on. I don't know what those wrappers would be. There's definitely fries. Jack in the Box is good. I haven't had it in years. I want some. His fucking car. I don't think that's blood reacting. Because that means that would be blood there. And I think that's just water and things where he was driving, because what his dad had come from Pennsylvania to take his car back or something. They took the door panel off. They took the seat off. Like, it is interesting that there was not one drop of blood from them in that whole entire vehicle. Like, I'm not seeing where any of this is reacting with anything. What are we marking here? I don't see what they're marking. Unless it's a fingerprint I don't see. Hey, Chrissy. 2 tacos. Okay. Oh, it's what Hannah's eating. Yeah, it is. I haven't got quite enough discard yet to make anything, but I'm getting there. I don't know what they got. I'm assuming it's fingerprints, but that was part 4. Let's look at part 3. Now that I know we have to scroll down. These are all the vehicles that were there. What is that in the yard? Oh, that's bubble wrap from an Amazon package, it looks like. You know how, like, when you get a package, it'll have that bubble wrap stuff in it? It's so sad to think about this homicide happening, like, when they say when it snows, that's God cleansing the earth. And it's just so, there's snow outside, somewhat. It's a beautiful, just quiet, peaceful night. And these horrific murders happened here. Wasn't it during the day that the guy goes in and calls 911? He already had learned about how to not contaminate crime scenes. He already had a master's. Yep. Wintertime also. Yep. Sweet Melissa, good to see you. Oh, I missed you too. I was wondering where you were at too. It's good to see you, love. I wish we knew. I think that would give us a lot of information. Yep, it gets dirty driving across country like that. It absolutely does. And we see the chairs outside. I think that that's just where they would go outside to smoke or, hang out by the fire. People call it a party house. And yes, it was somewhat of a party house, but I mean, I think it was just a bunch of young adults, basically kids in my eyes, away from their parents for the first time, doing what they're supposed to do. They're in college, they're studying, they're getting their degrees, they're doing what they're supposed to do, away from their parents for the first time. So of course It's going to be messy. They're going to have parties. They're going to possibly snort Adderall. I don't like the way that some people have depicted them. Oh, this was a party house. All they did was get drunk. I don't like that shit. I think it's absolutely normal. And at the end of the day, I don't care if it's a house where somebody's fucking shooting up methamphetamine. They don't deserve to die in this way. Nobody does. It's sad to think that people who commit homicide target people at their most vulnerable. Ladies of the night, kids when they're sleeping. It's aggravating. The beer cans being there is indicative of a party just happening. Nothing out of the ordinary. So they're taking photos of the bathroom and the bathtub to make sure that nobody cleaned up or anything. That's adorable. Looks like it used to be a window, but they covered it up. There's something on the toilet right there. I don't think it's blood splatter, though, because I don't think he ever went in the bathrooms. That's not blood. That's just wear and tear on the cabinet, I think, where it got a little bit dirty and things. You know, we've seen the video where they pick on each other about cleaning up and stuff. I think that it probably needed to be cleaned, but that's about it. They were throwing Xana's mom's issues on Xana as well. Really? Yeah, right. They like to party. It's just kids. Yeah. That shit pisses me off. Yeah, I did change my live streams. They're an hour later now because I moved to a different time zone. So I'm still going live at 1, but it's an hour later than what it used to be. What is this? Some kind of thing like the furnace or something? It says airflow, so I guess it's the air conditioning unit. Looks like there's pipes there for the hot water heater and stuff. There's some alcohol bottles on the floor. Why would they? I mean, I guess to get pictures of everything, but can somebody tell me why they would take pictures of all of this? Maybe to make, well, obviously they didn't die of fucking carbon monoxide poisoning. So what the fuck? I don't understand that. Just to have pictures of it? See if somebody fucked with it? I don't know. Because it's by the door, maybe? Oh, maybe because it's dented? I think somebody just fell into that, maybe possibly come in the door and could have been a little tipsy on their feet and fell into the damn air conditioning unit. Why are there doors here? Cabinet doors, it looks like. And a screen for the window? Or a door? That's interesting. Storage underneath the stairs. And then going up in the living room area. Where, I mean, they had a party. It is definitely interesting that none of the cups on the beer pong table are knocked over. So where you see a big spot of blue is because they were looking for signs of cleanup. Okay, thank you. Crime scene analysis, rather more than not enough. Yeah, they need to basically take a picture of anything, any possible areas where a crime could take place. Like if he was hiding in the utility room. That makes sense. That makes sense. Okay. Look, Saturdays are for the girls. Just senseless. looking at the table, I mean, it's not as close up as some of the pictures we have of it, but looking at it like this, it looks like that could be just where drinks have spilled, not necessarily where blood is on it. But if it is blood, I think it's because of the stairwell being over here, and maybe she kind of got like stabbed or something and then is backing down the stairwell and running to her room. Probably to get the phone to try to call 911 and wake Ethan up. Speaking of Xana, because if she was upstairs and saw Brian attacking Kaylee and Maddie, then stood there and then backed down, like, because you would stand there if you thought it was a shadowy figure, you would stand there and try to figure out what exactly is happening, and then she backs down the stairs and then is somehow attacked in that area and continues to go back down the stairs to get her phone to call 911 and wake Ethan up. That could be blood on that table, but I don't, it also could be a drink. That's just dirt on the washer and dryer. You are something. I just, these motivational things that I see everywhere in this house that these girls had just breaks my fucking heart. I love the good vibes sign there. Thought that was really cute and adorable that they made for their little area where they drink at. There wasn't anything in the kitchen that I've heard of, right? Not that I'm aware of. Taking pictures of that to make sure he didn't clean up or anything. Storage under the stairwell. That's the window he entered. They've got an evidence sticker on it. Kitchen's actually really clean. I don't know if this is after or what, because there was stuff. We did see this table covered in stuff for drinks and things like that, but that could be after they moved the stuff out of the way. I know some of their videos are absolutely adorable. He could have been hiding in a utility room to make sure they were asleep after coming home from the party. As far as I know, we really don't know the time he broke in, only when he unalived them. That's true. It was literally off-campus sorority and frat kids who lived right there. Every one of them were sorority girls dating frat boys. The boys lived behind 1122 in a house, of course, they partied. Right. I can't imagine what these parents feel going into that house and getting their stuff. God bless their souls. I could not. Yeah. Lotus Spider said seeing the happy social media post in contrast to the crime scene photos is drastic. It is. He did go through the slider in the kitchen. We know that. But there's a footprint in one of these photos, and I haven't found it yet. And like, he went through the sliding glass door at some point. But he could have stayed, he could have went through the sliding glass door and stayed in the utility room. Hell, he could have been in the utility room a different time, just watching them, and then left and come back and committed the crime later that night or on a completely different day. We just don't know, because we didn't get to hear any of that because he took a plea and shut the fuck up. It just pisses me off. This is the stairwell with some of the blood on it, and it looks like here, I mean, again, this is a party house, so there's going to be stuff everywhere. Like, you know, if somebody's walking up the stairs with mud on their boots, it could sling mud on the walls. But I think that's blood. That right there specifically looks like blood, but I think this is the stairwell where the blood was found. It's confusing because there's two stairwells, so I could be wrong, but yeah, it's definitely a sorority. Look at the paddle there, 21 years. The sorority paddles. This is not something that should be happening to kids that are going to school and getting their education. I don't know what this world has come to. Shouldn't happen to anybody. Kids that dropped out of school and fucking in and out of juvie, it doesn't matter. It shouldn't happen to anybody. Memorable moments are us. Carry away a memory from any occasion. 2081 208-991-0706. What is that? Tickets or photos? Oh, that's those things that like you go in the photo booth and it prints photos. Damn. They were all very loved. Hey, Harlot. Good to see you. I'm glad you're here. Hey, so that was part 3. Since we can scroll through these like this and I'm not stopping to break down the blood and stuff forensically, then we might be able to get through them today. That's just got a lock. So like the door locks, there's a keypad. And that's probably why he didn't go in those doors, because he figured the sliding glass door would be unlocked. You know, I had somebody comment about the doors, like, you know, check your surroundings. Even when you're young, they should have checked their surroundings and the doors being locked. And y'all, I will be the first to tell you, my ex used to get on me all the fucking time because I would look down at the ground or off to the side. He's like, somebody could walk up and just grab you and you would be none the wiser. I left my doors unlocked. I left my car unlocked. I mean, you don't think about these things. You think that it's not going to happen to you. You know what I mean? And then add on top of that, possible intoxication from drinking, and then people in and out and party. And there might have been somebody who went around everybody and locked everything up. But, you know, people coming in and out all the time, it's just, it's not something that was thought about, I don't think. And you're in an area where you're a sorority house and they're a frat house. You think you're protected and safe. I could see absolutely how it would happen. Cara, be safe, love. Sorry, my eye was itching. Plus, she just opened the door for the DoorDash driver. That door might have been locked. Sad. So we got the photos. So here, it does appear that the cups are knocked over a little bit. Some of them got knocked off the beer pong table, but not a lot. In order to know where he was going in that house, like he had to know the layout, which he could have seen through the windows, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that he went in and hid in that utility closet and learned the layout of the house by going to a party or whatever. I think he probably went to a party there. I think it was probably a thrill for him because I think this was something that was very planned out. So I think he probably walked through or showed up at a party. And for him, he's just getting off on the fact that he knows he's going to target them and try to do something. And they're just being nice to him and welcoming him and saying, hey, thanks for coming and hanging out. I think he could have hidden that utility room, and I think he could have watched them for several days that nobody even ever knows about. And then that one night he knew that, I mean, because how else would you know that Maddie's room is at the top of the stairs and to go directly up there? How would you know where each one of these rooms lead without walking through, without risking somebody else seeing you in the house? There's just no way to me. Was it revealed what was in that room? I think it goes to the outside. Are you talking about a padlock or the one? Hold on. I think it's at the beginning. Are you talking about this door? Or are you talking about there was one with a padlock? This door goes up under the steps, but I don't see a padlock on it. I think it probably goes outside if I had to guess. But like here at my house, there's like a storage area up under the front porch. Like our front porch is a good 10 feet off the ground, like the front of the house is. And it opens up and you can put stuff under there. And the person who owns the house, because we're renting the house, the person who owns it has it padlocked because I was wanting to open it and let the chickens and the geese go up under there at night. And like that be like a chicken coop nesting area for them up under the front porch, and then fence in kind of around it so they'd have an area. And that was part of the reason, like one of the pluses that made us want to rent the house. But then we got here and the landlord has a padlock on it because he's got like a bunch of his stuff stored under there. So it could be something like that, or it could have went outside, I think. Yeah. I think he did. I don't know how else he would have known exactly where to go. Exactly, Miss Holly. The layout of that house was very confusing. He had to have stalked, and even entered that house numerous amounts of times. Exactly. That's where I'm at with it. Dylan said they didn't have a key to the door. The owner of the house has a key. So it's probably like a storage room. Because to be honest, like if I owned a house that I was renting and I had things that were specific for that house, like let's say sometimes the septic tank overflows and I've got certain chemicals that make that go down, but I don't need it for the house that I'm living in. I'm probably going to keep it on the property of my rental house, just locked up to where nobody can get to it. And then if the people that are renting my house have an issue with the septic tank overflowing or something like that, I'm going to go unlock the area that I keep that stuff at that house and get it out, if that makes sense. Jeff said, I'm thinking if he saw what he wanted when he viewed Maddie. I'm thinking if he saw what he wanted when he viewed Maddie's room, it seems to me he just needs to go in and on the second floor and find stairs and go upwards without getting turned around. So you're talking about if he saw them through the window, which is if we talk about this video that no, not that one. This video that we went over, she talks about him looking in the windows at some point. Anyway, it shows them like him driving by, looking in the windows and seeing the girls. It's possible. I mean, I don't think he would have taken that chance. I think this was way too planned out. I think that he absolutely, I understand and respect your opinion, and I we're not going to know, but I think he planned this out like to a T and tried to commit the perfect crime. I think I'm with Hannah. I think he could have let that knife sheath to to taunt basically the police, like BTK did with letters and things like that. Landlord wouldn't want tenants messing around with the house air filters and furnace. Exactly. Yeah, yeah. I knew what you meant, and that's entirely possible. I mean, that there's only one of the two. He either watched that and went in and just tried to, basically go upwards to the room that he had looked in the window of, or he knew the house and he had scoped it out. Those are the only two options. I don't think he would have left it a chance like that. I think he planned this shit out for probably years. And then he figured out who his victims were going to be, and it was months after that he stalked them and shit. So again, this is the knife from the kitchen that the person picked up that went through the house to try to, when they called them. The Maddie and Dylan, not Maddie, I'm sorry, Bethany and Dylan called their friend to come and walk through the house. And then that friend grabbed the knife when they were walking through the house and called 911 shortly thereafter. And then we've got the ambulance bag. There's a close-up of that knife. And you can see what appears to be like possible blood splatter, but we don't know because this can right here is a White Claw and it's black cherry. And I mean, again, if you're playing beer pong and there's some kind of fruity drink or a Bloody Mary or anything in there, when the beer pong ball hits it, it could splash out and absolutely create splash patterns like that. So I don't know what that is, if it's blood or not. There you have the beer pong ball. So those of you who don't know what beer pong is, they stand at the other table and they try to throw this ball into the cup. And obviously, and the cup has liquid in it, beer, a drink, a shot of some sort. So when the ball lands in there, they have to drink it. And I think it absolutely could have created this blood spatter we kind of see. It's not, it could have created this splatter we see under this knife, or it could be blood splatter from the altercation that happened somewhat close to this table that I think, if I'm speculating, happened with Xana and Brian Koberger. But if that was the case, you would think the cups would be knocked over from something or someone bumping into the table. And as you can see, this White Claw is a black cherry White Claw. I often wonder if he thought Maddie was so small that he could kill her and remove her from the house, and off to Wawau Park they go. Possibly. You know, we don't know. I think Maddie was the original target, and I think everybody else was just a victim of circumstance, unfortunately, after that. I think the knife sheath was a mistake because Xana came up and he had to go stop her. That makes sense too. Hunter protected those girls just by not letting them see the scene or to even know what happened. I pray for his peace. Me too. Hunter is the one that came in with the knife and went through and saw everything that happened and called the police. And I think he protected them as well. I do. Critical Minds True Crime, thank you for being here. Maybe reading the reports would help since they identify who the bloodstains belong to. Just saying. Absolutely, they would. And I have the reports. I just haven't had the ability to go through it. For me, I can read documents all day, and yes, I learn from them, but I have to see the photos. And I feel like it's kind of hard to explain. I feel like not knowing the case can help me see things that other people might not see, because if I read the document, if I had time to do that right now, I'm going to be looking for specific things. Whereas if I look at the pictures without knowing the whole case like the back of my hand, then I can identify things that other people might not see. And vice versa. By reading the documents, I'm sure things would be identified that I haven't seen. I wish I did have the time to read all of the documents. And again, I just want to stress that I'm not trying, it's not my intention to be disrespectful in any way, shape, or form by going over these pictures and not refreshing myself on the documents, because I have read some of them, but I could not recall everything they say because we cover an extensive amount of cases over here. But I learned more from the photos. And I think we've gotten it. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory except for the blood on the stairs. But I do think that it belongs to Xana from what I've heard. That she could have possibly had some type of altercation. It's alleged or speculated. Oh, yeah. He definitely felt powerful after he left. But he fucked up. I agree with that. I bet Brian Koberger chased Xana and forgot about the sheath. Absolutely. He called Hunter Ethan's brother first, then the police. Okay. Thank you for that. I also think he planned it, and I feel he probably left the sheath on purpose as a calling card. Doesn't make sense to bring it without securing it to anything. He knew he'd need his hands. True. Yeah, they didn't even know about Kaylee and Maddie until the police search, which also makes sense because Hunter would not have gone all the way upstairs. He probably would have seen Ethan and Xana, which were on the second floor, if I'm not mistaken, and then not gone any further. The blood on the table is 100% just Kaylee. So that's the table. What about the stairwell by the table? Let me write that down. If the blood on the table is just Kaylee's, then did she get, that doesn't make sense because Kaylee was asleep in the bed with Maddie. So if it is 100% just Kaylee's, then it had to happen at a different time when she might have got injured hanging out with her friends or something. I appreciate the information. There's no way that Kaylee's blood would be on that table without Maddie's blood, so it had to happen at a previous time. And they told me yesterday that there was allegedly some type of something happened that could have caused blood to be on the table from a previous incident, but we weren't sure, and I had not verified it yet. I wanted to see this. That looks like where the stool is worn from people putting their feet on it. So here, I think this is relatively early in the investigation, and there's not nearly as much stuff on the table. Yeah. The cabinet being left open could be indicative of Kaylee running. Half wall is Kaylee, 80, Maddie, 20. Yeah, the beer pong table. So then that's going to be cast off from the weapon as he's chasing Xana down the stairs, if she was there, or walking down the stairs. It's just cast off. But if we I can't remember. My photos got switched around, so I'll see if I can pull up them photos again. Let me write that down though. So it's 80% Kaylee's, 20% Maddie's. It doesn't look like it could be cast off. It's really light though. That's interesting. And thank you for the information. I appreciate that. If I said Kaylee was in the kitchen, I didn't mean Kaylee. Xana is what I meant. And I'm thinking if Xana saw Brian and she's in the kitchen getting her food or putting it back, like grabbing her food or coming down to throw the trash away, and she's reaching in this cabinet for something, and then she sees him and takes off running in the opposite direction or walking briskly. However, this cabinet could have been left open from her seeing him. Plus, the dishwasher is partially open, which could have been done from before. We don't know. This handprint on the window is interesting. But I think I remember reading in the documents or hearing somewhere that the handprint was unrelated. It was from when they locked themselves out and had to enter the house, or just from them partying. Far wall of the stairs. Thank you for the information. And an unidentified male. So but they identified Brian Kohberger's touch DNA on the knife sheath through the familial DNA thing by linking it to his dad. So therefore, could they not link the unidentified male DNA that's on the stairwell to Brian? Or did that happen and I just don't know about it? Did that happen and we haven't heard about it because it didn't go to trial? That's my thought process when you tell me that. They did the genealogy thing and got the touch DNA from the knife sheath, but that's going to be indicative of him walking down the stairwell after he's committed the homicide. The blood on the railing wasn't Kohberger. You know, if we're going down that road, I've heard that the defense was going to say the knife sheath was planted and that he didn't commit this crime. And I mean, to be fair, I think Brian Kohberger did this, but it is, as we've talked about, questionable that he did all this and not one speck of blood got on the car at all. Now, we've talked about the use of clothing that he could have taken off and put in a bag, or somehow made sure that nothing from the clothing got in the car, and had shower curtains or liners in the car. I mean, it is entirely possible if you plan it out to that extent, but you enter a house with the intent of committing one homicide, and then 3 other people see or are somehow involved, because Kaylee was sleeping in the bed. So I don't think he intended to kill Kaylee, but she was with Maddie. And then Xana at some point saw him. So then he pursues her, and Ethan's in the bed there. So that's 3 other people that I don't think he originally planned to homicide. So he's already going to be out of breath, worn out, et cetera, et cetera. And you mean to tell me that he still is able to commit the perfect crime that leaves no blood in the car is interesting to me. Yeah, he left the house too without leaving a trail of blood behind him in the kitchen or on the stairs. Yeah, because I was just looking when we were looking at the floor right here. I don't see anything. So how the fuck did that happen? You're absolutely right. The handprint I do remember reading or hearing was unrelated, that handprint on the window. But of course, when they're coming through and doing original forensics, they're going to print everything and see there's another one over here, because they don't know what's of evidentiary value and what's not. Lemon Lime, good to see you. He also had 6 weeks to clean that car. He did, but can he clean a car good enough to where forensics can't pick up any traces of blood at all? I don't think so. Like, I don't think no matter how detailed you cleaned a vehicle or anything, if it was used in the commission of a crime, there would still be something left behind, I would think. But he is educated in cleaning up forensics and crime scene stuff, so maybe. The Gonzalez family does do a live stream soon. I hope they reveal the details they believe happened that night. They're closer in real intel than anyone. That would be interesting to see, which would be impossible for whoever committed the crime in Xana's room. Too much blood. Yeah. Yep. Ethan's carotid was hit. I think you're still behind, love. Yep. The killer that stabbed the Ukrainian girl on the train probably would have left much of a blood trail. He had wiped the knife off after. Yeah, so it would be on his clothes. But again, I mean, seeing Xana's room and the bloodshed there, that I don't know how you could go anywhere without leaving blood. Law enforcement didn't bother with the unknown, not Brian's. I can't believe Brian did this. I've tried, but nothing but a little trace on the sheet. That could have been planted on it. I agree. He did confess. He did confess. And I don't know why he would do that unless he did it, but it is weird. Enzyme cleaner. Would he have had access to enzyme cleaner, Nevia? He would have known exactly how to do it because of his previous college. At his previous college, they had homicide houses set up where they practiced. I'm sure they were told exactly how to keep their personal cars clean. True. Footprints on the floor in Xana's room is covered in blood, and to do Ethan, you would be standing and slipping in it. So how did you leave with no footprints? Yeah, if we're going to say that he had some type of booties on his feet, he would have had to stop, take the booties off, and then still exit, and there would be blood on the floor. I would think. You can get enzyme cleaner online too. You can buy it from any store for pet potty mess. This is interesting. Yeah, there was a significant amount that leaked out of Ethan. Sorry, I didn't leave that comment up long enough for y'all to leave it to read it. There would have been a significant amount that drained out over time from Ethan. That's why we see it coming down the foundation on the outside. But when we look at the photos of Xana's room, I mean, there's still no way. There still would have been a significant amount of blood to where you couldn't leave with no footprints. But we have to keep in mind that he has got his master's degree in this. So I'm sure he knew how to clean a crime scene. And again, I think that's another reason why he could have done it, because he thought he got all of the training necessary, so he thought he would commit the perfect crime. But you would think there would be more. There is a footprint allegedly, but I haven't seen it yet. Yeah, and there's no bathroom cleanup or anything. And that's what they're checking for here. Thank you. That's coming down from Maddie's room. This is outside and the screen is removed. But again, I think that has to do with the handprints on the wall. And I think it had to do with the previous time. He had to be on the bed to do what he did to Ethan. I agree with that. Do you? Yeah. He may have sat in the chair on Xana's room. Maybe he had double booties. Possibly. Yeah, where he sat on the chair, that could be where he took the booties off. He wrote a research paper describing a crime scene with a stabbed woman. He detailed how to not bring your DNA into the house and how to not bring DNA out of the house upon leaving. You're right. I remember reading that. I would be like the Gonzalez. I would want to know what happened to my child. They are a very strong and determined family. Yeah. Yeah, it's online. It's on Reddit, I think. And he did the Reddit thing about like committing a crime and thing like that. And like, if you committed a crime, would you tell somebody? How did it make you feel? All of that's on Reddit too. Mrs. North said he probably had multiple booties on his way out and just took a pair off and then walked off in protective gear after he walked to the car, so no evidence in the car. It's possible, yeah. Yeah. Thank you guys for the information. The footprint is outside of DM's door, just one, and it was the Vans. DM then has Vans just inside her door on the pic. Did DM step outside her door? Possibly. I think that's entirely possible that Dylan stepped outside of her door because she heard screaming and commotion. And I think it's mentioned that Bethany stepped outside. If we go by this, and this is true. Hold on. So if we watch it from here, this is a speculation. Nobody was there and we don't really know, but this is the way she's put it together. But I think it's set
less than 30
out.
seconds. As he gets up to leave, Dylan, hearing the commotion from Xana's room, gets up out of bed and goes to her door to look out into the hallway. She freezes and sees Kohberger as he walks by and exits through the kitchen.
And she's the one that said she saw bushy eyebrows. So if it's a van and if it was Dylan's Vans, it's entirely possible that Dylan could have stood there. Okay, thank you. Hey, Beachfront Park. Thought he was wearing boots. I think the van print is unrelated. Okay. Let me see if I can locate about the stabbed woman. Okay, thank you. I think he leaned over and Ethan wouldn't have been able to move because he's bleeding out quickly. True. I'm not sure. Stephen doesn't have any more information than we do, sadly, said Melissa. He should. He should have been given all of the information because it's his children. His child. Not children, child. That would piss me off to no end. These are just close-ups of the handprint and where they're notating the handprint on the window, which again, I think is where they got locked out and went in. This is the sliding glass door. And they're marking another handprint, but I don't think he left handprints. This is the door. That's the front door, which has the keypad. And they're going to look, obviously, for fingerprints on the keypad. They're checking the trash. There appears to be a blood droplet on this napkin or tissue in the trash, but it could be completely unrelated. But of course, they're going to take a picture of it at the time. I don't think it's related because I don't think it cleaned up. And that's just one drop of blood. It could be from a nosebleed or anything, somebody cutting their finger or something. So this is part 1 that we're going over now. That's showing all the vehicles of the students that were there that night. I didn't realize that the apartment complex was that close. I thought it was further away. That's interesting. He could have sat over here at this apartment complex and that area behind the woods where Murphy would bark at any time. And I think he did. I really do. I think he started outside the house, and I think he went inside the house and just viewed them over a significant period of time. Kaylee's damn Range Rover that she wasn't even supposed to be there. If Steve had connections, you think he does, he would have to use FOIA to get evidence. Wouldn't have to use a FOIA. True. Yes, she did. He walked by her car as well. Bethany was down a level, not directly across like Dylan was. Dylan was sort of centrally located in the house, so stairs up to Maddie's and Xana's and across the hall. Hey, Hobby Farmer, didn't they say this happened in a matter of like 13 minutes? Something like that, yeah. Let me write down 13 minutes. It was 13 or 17 minutes. It leaves no time to clean up, especially if you're committing 4 homicides. It's good to see you, love. Yeah. I think this is mostly vehicle information, like the VIN numbers and license plate, which isn't very important. You would think there would be some type of footprints. But I mean, it's also not hard to walk in areas where the snow just is not at. So I'm guessing he walked up through these woods right there. He walked up from like up behind the house. And to go in the house and not track in anything from back there would have been hard. There is footprints in the snow, and it appears to have that bubbled pattern, kind of like vans do, to be fair. Do you see the bubbled imprint right here, right here? I mean, but that could be from anybody at the house hanging out and partying. 9 minutes? That's insane. 9 minutes and committing four homicides in 9 minutes with a knife, not something like a vehicle or a gun. That's crazy. Murphy went barking to the bushes, and I read he would be friendly to Murphy. Brian would, or just people in general? It does look like there's a path into the woods. In 9 minutes, set a timer for 9 minutes, do something that time, or wait for it feels like forever. Yep. And it would have. It would have felt like forever. When your adrenaline's pumping and you're high energy, yeah, it would have felt like forever. He probably would have thought he took too long. There's a lot of footprints. Some of them do look like van prints, but I could be completely wrong in that. But it could be from investigators, from different people. That's a boot print. Because that's the heel of the boot. So there was some type of footprints left in the snow, but I don't know that they were necessarily his. And there's the boot print again. There's the heel, and then there's the foot. Depending on how many booties you had on, it might not leave any type of design from the bottom. It would depend on how deep the design was. They definitely marked that boot print. It was frozen, and to be honest, cops were everywhere. The kids were everywhere. The boys walking through the backyard to see the girls. Yeah. The prints didn't really go toward the back of the woods, though. Would have been interesting to hear testimony on that. The snow prints look pretty big, too. Yeah, they do. BK. You read that Murphy would be friendly to Brian Kohberger, like that he would have been friendly to anybody, or specifically he would have been friendly. He had been friendly with interactions with Brian Kohberger. I think I could be misunderstanding you, and you're just saying that he would have been friendly in general. No one can do this, anything to do with this. He spoke to his mom for hours a day. She was afraid of the death penalty, and this, so he pleads guilty. Yeah. I mean, if we're just speculating, I respect your opinion. Yeah. I think that he did it, honestly, but I respect your opinion. I would be interested to see his purchase history over several months to see if he purchased PPE gear months prior to the homicides. Yeah, that would be interesting. I do wonder about the boots. Yeah, that's a pretty big boot print. And then that book bag. Hold on a minute, y'all. Okay. Oh, my knee. His mom wrote to Bundy's judge to say he didn't deserve the death penalty. I've heard about that. Oh, yeah, and you're allowed to have it. I try to be respectful of everybody's opinion. Who do you think done it? Yeah. Who would you think did it if it wasn't Brian? That's a cooler backpack. Okay, so that's completely normal because they would have had beers outside and things and taken, yeah, that's normal then. Nothing out of the ordinary. Yeah, I think that's normal to have outside of a house where they were partying. Is there, that looks like possible cast off, and so does that, but I don't think it is. Because, I mean, there's probably a lot of DNA and a lot of things going on in that house because there was a lot of people there that hung out. That's weird, indentions in the tree. Is that where they cut branches or something? That's normal stuff on the side, I think. Well, where somebody threw something against the side of the house and it came down, it looks like, but not related to the case, I don't think. The door was open, but it wasn't because of Brian. It was because of the kids coming out of the house, and they left it open. And I think that's how the leaves blew in that you see here. I believed it was a planned hit, not sure why. Interesting. How long do people think it takes to stop someone? Internet is filled with examples of how fast it can happen. Yeah, it can happen extremely fast. Absolutely. I don't disagree with that. It's just 4 people. I think that that's a lot of people to kill in 4 minutes. Hello, Erica. Good to see you. With the homicides of the Teppies and other homicides like this one, I will tell you, golden noodles are wonderful dogs, but for myself, I have a German Shepherd that hears everything. It's interesting. If Murphy could talk, you know, I'm glad they had Murphy. There's absolutely no reasonable explanation for his DNA to be on that house, unless he went there for a party. I do think he was laser focused on Maddie too. I watch and has a lot of good reasons why it wasn't BK. I don't know if I can say who. No, Birdie does. I don't know who Birdie is. I don't care if you mention other creators here. Photos just inside the door because they have to mark everything forensically. There's leaves. I don't think any of that's related to the actual crime. The original doorknob being, or bolt lock being removed and then putting this one on, I don't think is weird either. Although that door lock usually is pretty easy to get through, like with a card. Although that's not what happened here. So I guess it's not relevant. They're taking pictures of the shower curtain to make sure nobody used the shower to try to clean up and the floor. Just trying to really zoom in on all of the things in the bathroom. There's a lot of photos of this bathroom though, which makes me feel like something could have happened there unless there's just the one bathroom in the house. It is really clean compared to the rest of the house. You got that one spot in the tub, but that's about it. But maybe that's just, you know, they made sure the room was clean because they were having a party. I think that's where the door is actually indented. I don't think it's blood splatter or anything. Oh, that's all of that one. Is this after they cleaned it? That one last cupcake, don't eat me. Interesting, in my opinion, and I'm guiltier. I'm a guiltier. The sheep does look planted. And with the VC footage is redacted of law enforcement initial reactions. Glad to be here. I'm new. Hi, everyone. Hey, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Miss Scorpio Rising, good to see you. Thank you for being here. And thank you for gifting a membership. That was so very sweet and supportive of you, and I really appreciate it. That membership went to Stella May. Stella May, if you're here and you are where you're gifted, please tell Miss Scorpio thank you, and I will grab the crazy train to pick you up on the way to Speculation Station. Thank you so much, Miss Scorpio. That was so sweet of you. Thank you so much for gifting that membership. I appreciate it. Dylan told the police that she heard someone crying in the bathroom and a male voice saying, "I'm here to help." She thought it was Kaylee, but the crying would actually be Xana. So then that makes sense. There's a lot of pictures of the bathroom. Thank you for the information. And thank you for being so supportive, Miss Scorpio. Yeah, the party had been a day or so before this happened. It wasn't the day it happened. We should listen to Dylan's police interview. Probably got it on this drive. Kia puts everything on here for me. She's such a sweetheart. That area is very clean, which is weird. Like, and that's something you would be looking for as a forensic person. Like the bottom shelf being vacuumed out and so clean. Oh, this is Brian's house. My bad. That makes sense. Yeah, that's Brian's shit. All right. Yeah, I think I'm probably going to end it here for the day. Because I've been going for about 3 hours. That's the glove inside the car. I think most of these are the photos we've been through. There's footprints in the snow, but it could be from the students or the crime scene investigators. Whose car is this? I don't even know what I'm looking at. There's a face mask on the ground. Is this the frat house, I'm wondering? Wonder who that face mask belonged to and if they got anything off of that. We might have it, but we might not. Okay, thank you. Hey, Creamy. Have to step up and agree with Sweet Melissa. None of the docu-drops or anything authentic points to Brian Koberger's involvement. No shortage, high specs on the scene. Yeah? Innocent Project. Used law classes and law professors all over the country. Yeah? Black backpacks are mini dispensaries. Probably said that wrong. This is inside of the their house, but could be different photos of vehicles. And that's obviously outside of their house. What is this? Oh, a key that's outside. I wonder if we approach this from a standpoint of trying to prove that Brian Koberger did not commit this. First of all, I would probably get slaughtered before I could even go live. But if we tried to approach it from that standpoint, could we defend it? Would we not be able to do it like we did with Jennifer Soto, like proving that she didn't know what was happening to Maddie? Would we be able to prove it? Would we be able to prove that Brian Koberger did not do this? That would be interesting. Maybe we can do that. Those are pictures of Xana's room, which we've been through. We do not. We do have that. Oh, okay. We do have that. Okay. Yeah. I'm probably going to end it here for today, but we might talk about it again. I would like to go through and try to approach it from a standpoint of like, can we, because I have everything. I would like to listen to Dylan's police interview because I personally have not done that. And I'm wondering if we approach this from a standpoint of trying to prove that Brian did not do this. Could we do that? Could we prove that somebody else did it? Or could we prove in turn that Brian did do it? That would be interesting. And I think if everybody could be adult enough to, even if they couldn't be adult, I would just block them for that stream or something. But like I know people would be upset, but like trying to see, not necessarily that I think Brian did this. I don't understand why you would admit to a crime that you didn't commit. However, it would be interesting to try to prove that he didn't, and see what we could figure out if it's even possible. Because like I said, we did it with Jennifer Soto back in the day with the Madeline Soto case, trying to prove that she did not know what Stephen Stearns was doing to Maddie, and we were not able to prove it. Those are really interesting strings to do. The only way is to identify the 3 male DNAs in the house. Yeah, in order to do it, I'm definitely going to have to brush up on documents too. But like, I mean, my hold on a minute. So I've got an entire, see, there's so much here that I'm like clicking on photo. There's so many photos that I can't even pull all of them up. See, this is just one section of my drive, and this is all Idaho 4 that Keo has put in here for me. So we got the 911 call, Brian Koberger, Moscow, crime scene photos, Ethan, Gonzalez, WSU, Idaho 4, Brian Koberger, Idaho docs, ISP batch 2, ISP docs, Koberger case, MPD reports, 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 MPD reports after probably the homicide, Pullman document 1, and I mean, it just goes on forever. Lots and lots of stuff. These are the fingernail clippings from Xana. I was looking at them before I started. And they have Ethan's blood under them, I think, or it's the other way around. They're Ethan's fingernails that had Xana's blood under them, which proves that they tried to wake the other one up. So I mean, it's just I've got the documents to go through this case for 6 months. It's just having the time, because it's like, where do I start? You know, because I've got 4 kids. They're going to be going back to school finally soon. So I'll have a little bit more time, except for one. I'll still be homeschooling one. But like, where do I even begin? You know, because like if I let's click on MPD reports. So you just saw all of that stuff, and see, we have all of this stuff here, and it's like, these are probably 140-page documents all. And then if I go back, there's 5 of those. Like, it's just, there's so much. I don't even know where to begin. Keo is very good at what she does in getting those documents, and I'm very grateful. And there's so much more. I'm very, very grateful for everything that she sent. Yes, this is a sweater dress. I wasn't sure about wearing it because it's like really big. It makes me look fat, but I was like, it'll be all right. They haven't even released all the info yet. The judge has to sign off on batches. I believe it, and there's so much. The 911 call, I have heard that. We did cover that in the past, and it really does bring home the gravity situation. I love you too. Why do you call 911 before you even go into the room and check on your friend? Lotus Spider, that's a good question. I can't answer that. But at the same time, like I continue to say, I don't know what I would do in that situation. Because, I mean, for me, I keep in mind that, like, the cops got called out there several times, and they were told, you know, if we come out here again, we're going to contact the school, and you're going to get in trouble with the school. We're going to contact the dean. Like, and so maybe they thought, you know, cops are bad, you know what I mean? And so they wouldn't. Maybe they thought that they got a hold of some bad shit and they were tripping, and they wanted somebody else to come through first and make sure that they weren't just tripping and like seeing shit that wasn't there. I mean, I don't know. I don't know, you know, but I know that they are victims, and that I think somebody else did this. Yeah, it's been nice to hang out with you too. Let me see what y'all are saying. Explain how at first they said his DNA was on the inside of the snap, but then it was miraculously on the strap. After it came out, DNA doesn't last long on metal. That's interesting. I didn't know that. critical minds. So could they have meant that it was like partially on the snap and partially on the strap, and said that, come out and said it was on the inside of the snap, but then, when it was said it didn't last long on metal, they're explaining that, well, it was also on the strap too. Thank you, love. I love you so much. If Brian Koberger left the sheep with others' DNA on it, maybe that was intentional to throw them off the trail, but didn't realize some of his was on there too. I mean, I could see that. That's a good point. But I could also see somebody else leaving his DNA if we're going to go with he didn't do this. So much blood and none on the sheep to speak of. Xana fought for her life, but no marks on Brian Koberger clean car and home. You're right. The sheep was up under shut it. It was under Maddie. And it is interesting that there was no blood on that either, especially considering that she fought back in the amount of blood in Maddie's room. Yeah, Miss Holly said, I would never judge Dylan and Bethany. Those girls are victims. They were naive young girls who were put in a very traumatic situation that they didn't want to believe was real. I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. Single source DNA. Yeah, it was familial DNA they used to identify, to heal. And yeah, that's true. He did have 6 weeks because it took an extensive amount of time to identify Brian Koberger and even start looking at him. The roommates were too scared to go to check themselves. They were the scaredy cats of their group. By their own admission, it was common for them to freak out. I believe that. And at the end of the day, I don't think they did that. Okay. So unless we were going to approach a stream with, can we prove that the other people in the house didn't commit this homicide? I don't want to go down that road. And even I really don't. While I thoroughly enjoy running theories to try to prove somebody did do something or somebody didn't do something or somebody knew about something or somebody didn't know about something, as we're discussing doing with Brian Koberger, that trying to see if they could have committed this crime and then blamed it on Brian somehow is a very, very, very sticky road that I would say it's too soon to go down that path. I think they're victims. I don't think that they did this, and I don't think we would be able to prove that they did this and somehow hit it. Not in the politest way possible. I don't see Bethany or Dylan being able to commit this crime and not leave any evidence of anything behind. I just don't. I think they're victims, and unless we think they committed the crime, I think we need to just leave that alone, honestly. Not between KG and MM. See, y'all put initials. I don't know. Madison, Mogan, and Katie. Okay. Not between Kaylee and Madison, as first stated, and the sheath was found at the head of the bed, nowhere near Madison's leg, as they said. We've got those pictures. It looks like it's at the foot of the bed, but I got to locate them. I'll have to locate them and come back tomorrow. Is looking at a squirrel, red hair, and McGaffin. It's SA lure to turn head wrong way, possibly. All right, y'all. I will see y'all tomorrow. And we'll, if I can get enough stuff compiled, we'll try to run to see if we can make it to where, if we can prove that Brian Koberger did not commit this crime. I don't know if I'll have time to go through the documents between now and then. But if you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe, because as soon as I have enough time to go through these documents and possibly get with a couple of people, then we'll do that episode. 18 inches from the head of the bed. I think it was towards the foot of the bed. Let me see. I gotta find it. Hold on. Here, I'll pull it up as I'm looking through it for it. Now, it looked like there was redactions up toward the head of the bed, because it did look like somebody was kind of balled up there. This is Brian. I had the photos, but they were labeled something else yesterday, so it's hard. She probably just made it easy. It's going to take a minute for all of them to load too. I had that photo pulled up yesterday, but I don't know where it's at now. And my computer will probably be weird and not load now that I'm trying to load it. I don't know. I'll have to find it, but it did look like it was down toward the bottom half of the bed to me when we went over it yesterday. I'll check here, but I don't think that one is in this one. Yeah, I have to download that. I'll have to locate it, but it looked like it was down toward the bottom half of the bed to me, but I definitely could be wrong. Criminal uncovering investigations. Crime uncovering investigations. Good to see you. 5-month algorithm. Pretty okay. iData when you sleep. 5-month algorithm. Pretty athletic. 135, 5'10", and I sweat a ton. Okay. Well, thank you for that information. I appreciate it. B8K had awful luck to have bushy eyebrows and walk past the one person in the house that likes to draw eyes and eyebrows. She'd, of course, notice. Yeah. Oh, you said what was Dylan's description of the person she saw that night? Okay, I thought you were trolling. I was like, I don't know. Okay. Kaylee was supposed, yeah, okay. That's a good question too, Sheila. Why didn't the girl see any blood? That is a good question, because there's no way that you wouldn't see any blood. I mean, even if we're going to say that he had clothing on to keep his clothes from getting blood on them, there's no way he walked through that house without them seeing blood, but it was dark and they saw a dark shadowy figure. So, I mean, I could see it both ways. Dylan could have easily just said the photo they showed her of Brian was the guy she saw. Shows her honesty, if you ask me, and that she couldn't be certain. She said she couldn't be certain too, I think. It wasn't dark at all. The lights were on. Well, then how the hell did they not see blood? See, we got to run this. We got to run this. Let me write that down. We got to run this. We should get together. If anybody wants to email me and help me with this case, or try to help us go through this, can we run it to where Brian Koberger did not commit this crime? How the hell did they not see blood if the lights were on? Interesting. All right, y'all. Yeah, they didn't but you know, we discussed it. They could have been freaking out. I'm going to go for the day because we've been on here for 3 hours and 10 minutes. I do appreciate each and every one of you for hanging out with me today. I truly do. I appreciate y'all going through these photos with me and helping me learn this case a little bit more and a little bit better. Thank you, Ms. Scorpio, for gifting the membership. And I think Edith shared a milestone earlier, but it's not here now. I appreciate each and every one of you. Please stay safe out there in the snow and everything going on and just in general. And I will see y'all tomorrow. Until then, bye.
I gotta tell you, there is something you should